Hi everyone, my name is Johnny. I work as a solution architect at Red Hat, and today we'll cover how to manage Red Hat Enterprise Linux consistently regardless of the underlying environment you're deploying into. This is a follow-on session from the first where we went over how to get access to Red Hat Enterprise Linux in the cloud. You don't need to look at that session first, but I will do some remarks maybe that will make more sense if you watch the other session. This is a collaboration with Intel, and it's really an awesome experience working together with our partners. So with that, let's, without further ado, move into the session. So Red Hat thinks about its portfolio in three different distinct pillars. So the red one, which was the focus for the first session of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, is for building a hybrid cloud foundation for you to run your applications securely and stable and reliably across any environment. The blue circle is for modern application development, so modernizing existing or building net new cloud-native applications. And the blue one, which is for IT automation and management. So we'll add the blue circle today and talk a bit about Red Hat Insights. So while the first session focused on only Red Hat Enterprise Linux, the session today will also add the Red Hat Insights, so the blue box as you can see to the left on my screen. Just like Red Hat Enterprise Linux is cloud agnostic, so is its management tools. So Red Hat Insights will provide you for management capability of your RHEL estate, regardless of the underlying provider that you're running on. And this is an important consideration that we also talked about in the last sessions around consistency. So while Red Hat Enterprise Linux is engineered for consistency, how do we actually manage your environment in a consistent way? Again, we need to retain our skills, our standards, our management tools to more scalably be able to move into newer environments as the business requirements come to be able to do that. And again, while Red Hat Enterprise Linux is engineered to provide for this, stable, secure, performant, reliable system regardless of where, how do you actually manage it in that manner across the clouds? So put in another way, if you're asking yourselves questions, how do you know if your systems are configured in the correct manner? Or how can you quickly determine the actions for non-compliant systems? Or, how can you perform audit reports? If you're having these types of questions, then you should really look into Red Hat Insights. So what is Red Hat Insights? Red Hat Insights is a cloud analytical service. So what it does is that it captures small configuration and utilization data of your systems and uploads those into our analytics engine, where we can match it against certain rules. And that will allow us to inform you of recommended actions to take. So in the end, it will reduce the effort and amount of time that is required to maintain a secure and stable foundation for your applications. Red Hat Insight was actually conceived a couple of years ago on the basis of, in many instances, when a human being called out to Red Hat support, we were actually already aware of the potential issue, and there might have already been a fix for that particular issue. But to get that fix or get the remediation of that problem, the human needed to call us or open a support ticket. So the idea was that how can we come up with a system where we can actually proactively notify you that, hey, customer, we've seen that combination of configuration and software you seem to be running has in the past caused these types of problems, and this is how you actually solve that problem. So that was the initial thought about Insights, and it's obviously expanded since those roots. So today it has, additionally more advanced capabilities that will allow you to manage your estate in an efficient manner. So taking a look at those specific particular capabilities, we structure them across three different, let's call them domains. So the first one is the business domain. So the two capabilities that we provide with Insights there is subscription tracking and resource optimization. So we want to make sure that you're spending your money or investment in the most efficient way possible. So it allows you to keep track of the amount of subscriptions you're utilizing from Red Hat, but also allow you to look into how those systems are actually configured or sized to make sure that they're sized correctly. So you're not spending on an over-provisioned system. The second pillar is the operations, and the first one there is the advisor, and that's the one which I just described, where we will capture configuration data of your system and proactively notify you of issues we've seen across other systems with that particular configuration in combination with software. So that will allow you to get an overview of your fleet and immediately be notified of actions we recommend you to take. The drift capability allows you to construct a baseline. So let's say that you know all systems should be configured according to this system. We can capture the state of that system and allow you to compare other systems towards that baseline. And that will allow you to more easily understand what is actually causing a particular problem with a system. It might be because certain configurations have drifted from that baseline. Patch will notify you of any advisories or software updates that is available for your systems. And finally, from the operations pillar or domain is the image builder. And the image builder will allow you to construct or build your own golden image of Red Hat Enterprise Linux together with software you need to create a particular system for a specific business need. So it allows you to bring your own software and build an image that includes those pieces so that you can more easily deploy those images across the open hybrid cloud. And the final domain is the security domain. So the first one there is vulnerabilities. So we'll proactively notify you of known vulnerabilities across your fleet of systems. And again, it doesn't matter where that Red Hat Enterprise Linux system is actually running, that vulnerability will show up in the console regardless of where. Compliance, again, if you have regulatory compliance or if you have specific requirements from your security department, you maybe need to provide for hardened images, and the compliance will help you keep track and know what steps to bring a system that is out of compliance back to compliance. Obviously, compliance as a regulatory compliance, that is something that you always work with an auditor, and Red Hat cannot prove compliance. That's something that you work with an external party to do. And policies is a way for you to keep track of certain things. So we capture the facts of the systems, and you can write rules to get notifications when certain thresholds or when certain rules hit. So let's say that you write a rule that says notify me of any system that is running a lower version of RHEL than 8.4. And you will then get an email notification of what system is actually running that version of the software. And finally, we have a malware service. We've partnered together with the IBM X-Force team so that we can bring you malware signatures so that you can monitor your fleet of installed malware, which is also a very important capability. For today's demo purposes, we're going to show Image Builder, which actually exists as two different versions or flavors. So we have the hosted one. So Insights is a hosted service. So there's an Image Builder service that we're hosting for you. And also, Image Builder is something that you can install on your local environments. You can self-host Image Builder. The self-hosted versions as of today provides for a bit more customization, and that's also one of the things that I'll show to show how we can create a compliant or hardened image that we will deploy across our environments. And finally, I'll show you the compliance part where I can show you how we can construct reports and find the steps we need to perform to create a compliant system. And with that, we will move into the demo part of the session. So what I've done here is that I've logged into console.redhat.com, and I'm then going into the insights for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So let's just show you how that looks. So this is the greeting screen at console.redhat.com, and to the left, you can under Red Hat Enterprise Linux access your Red Hat Insights. So what you immediately land on is an overview page, and this will show you at a glance the most important things that you should probably take a consideration of addressing in your environment. So at the top left pane or box, you'll see vulnerabilities, and maybe the most important one is there's a one here in the middle that says CVEs with known exploits. And obviously I don't have any systems in my environment, but that is particularly an area where you might need to keep an extra eye on. So maybe this is something that we should be looking into to make sure that we're fixing system that has CVEs with known exploits. To the right of that, we have the advisors, and there's not a lot of advice for my particular environment because I don't have that many systems. But there is one that is flagged as important. And if we click that one, we will go into a different page that shows us what systems and what rules are we actually identifying and what are the actions that we should be performing. And this one in particular is that we're being notified that the configuration of an NFS server probably decreases the security posture of that system because we have world writable shares. So that's probably something that we should also start looking into. And then if you look to the left side of the window, you can see here there's many different topics here. So that you have the patches, you have the vulnerabilities, the compliance, malware, and drift. You can also see the resource optimization policy, subscriptions, and image builder, just like I went through with the slide. So taking a look at the image builder, and again, this is the hosted version, so we host this for you. And the idea is that you go in here to create a new golden image for you to deploy your applications to. As you can see, we can select the cloud provider or the local environments that we want to move into. So if I pick Azure, it will ask me for the information that is required to publish that image into my environment. And if I go back and select another platform like AWS, it will ask me for the information that I'm required to provide for publishing the image into that environment. So let's just give it a fake one here. That's 12 numbers, and then just click next to show you how that looks. The second part I can do here is that I can manage my registration experience. So maybe I want to construct an image that automatically registers the image back to Red Hat and also registers it to Insights. And I can make my own choice here. And maybe I actually want to have the team or the person that is provisioning the system do this as a day 2 operations. So let's just pick register later for this one. The next step is to manage the partition layout or file system configuration of the system. And that's what I'm doing in the next step. And finally, I'm adding the content. So let's say that I want to install the HTTPD server for this one. So I'm searching for that one, selecting that package, adding it, and clicking next, giving a name, and then hitting create. So let's do HTTPD server, hit next. And as you see, I'll just ask it to create the image, and that will be then be made available for that particular AWS account as I selected in this instance. But for now, I'm actually going to use the self-hosted version of the image builder. So what I've done is that I've created a base image from a security baseline. So Red Hat and Personal Linux comes with a large selection of compliance frameworks. So you have HIPAA, you have CIS, you have PCI DSS, and so on and so forth. And what I've done is that I've created a baseline that actually uses the CIS template as a baseline. Now that will create a compliant system. Again, compliancy is proved with an auditor, but it's a better starting point to make sure that that system is configured according to whatever rules that might be important for my particular environment. And for the demonstration purposes of today, let's imagine that we're not under official regulatory compliance, but the security department is mandating that we create hardened images. So that's the story. So I've created the image. And if I go in here, I can see that I've created some users in this image. I've selected a bit of packages that I want to install. And these packages might also be a requirement to fulfill the specific compliance, the CIS benchmark in this case. And then I've actually created 2 different images. So I've created one Azure image that I've uploaded to my Azure environment, which I'll show in a second. And I've also created a local image, which I'm using for deploying in my data center. The data center in this instance is my laptop. Just to give you an idea how that looks, you can see here I have 2 virtual machines running. So one is the image builder that I'm showing now, and I also have the RHEL 9 machine, which is actually also a virtual machine. So imagine this would be running in your data center on your Nutanix, VMware, Azure Stack, AWS Outpost, whatever it is, physical system, and so on. All of these systems is actually registered in my environment. So if I go back to console.redhat.com and look for insights, I can actually see these systems running in my inventory. So I have 2 Azure VMs that is registered, and I also have the RHEL 9 and the image builder at the bottom. So all of these systems are now reporting configuration data and utilization data back into Red Hat Insights, and we can start providing management capabilities for those systems. And as I mentioned, this session would be be then looking into how can I actually create a compliance report for these systems. So what I've done is that I've created a policy. And currently the CIS benchmark is in draft mode, so it's not fully baked yet, but it will become available soon, I hope. And as we can see, this is an at a glance. Now, I only have 2 systems as of now, and I can immediately see that half of those systems is actually compliant and 1 is not. So if I go in here, I can get a more detailed view of how is the state of my system actually performing according to this compliance baseline. And I can see here that I've selected that any system is compliant if it's meeting 96% of all the rules of this specific benchmark. And I can see here that the secondary virtual machine here is actually not compliant. So this is probably something that I need to take a look at. I might also want to add the RHEL 9 system that is running in my own data center, or laptop in this instance, to be forced to be compliant. So let's edit that policy, and let's add the RHEL 9 system to being so we're going to start keeping track of this system from a compliance point of view. Now, once I add that, I need to make sure that the system actually performs a compliance scan. Now, I will perform a manual scan here today, but obviously for a production scenario, you would make sure that this runs as a scheduled task on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. But just to give you an idea, let's go in here. And as you see, I've been auto-logged out. So let's go to sudo and provide my password, and then I will instruct the system to perform a scan. Now, this will take a couple of minutes, and it will use the local installed packages of the system and upload that report into the Insight service that is running in the cloud, and I can now start tracking how the system measures towards that compliance baseline that I've selected. As you can see, it's already done, and it's uploading the Insights data, and the report will be made available in the console. And I will start to be getting an understanding of what tasks do I actually need to perform to make sure that the system is actually compliant. So let's refresh the page here a bit to see if we can actually get the system up and running. So let's go in here. So now I see that the RHEL 9 system is actually added to this, and I can also see that it has a couple of failed rules. So I probably need to look into these environments to make sure that we bring these systems into compliance. Now, the Insight service actually makes this a lot simpler than you might imagine. So I can actually select this last system that I had here, and I can click Remediate. Now, this will actually generate an Ansible playbook, which has the necessary steps that will then make that system more compliant. So now, it's important to remember that all of the tasks of this maybe not be something that you can automate in an easy way. So some of the steps might want to be required to be performed in a manual manner. So let's just pick a name, RHEL 9 CIS, and click Next. And that it will show me the system that I'm selecting. So which system should we be performing these steps on, and then it will select all of the steps or rules that it can remediate in an automatic manner, and then I can find out more information about what this actually means, and then I hit submit. And in a couple of seconds or in a minute or so, that playbook will be made available for me to download and either run manually against that system or import into something like Ansible Automation Platform to run against my systems. And hopefully with that, I've actually shown you how we can use Insights to manage your environment in a consistent way that allows you to focus more on running your business applications. And with that said, I want to thank you for your time and wish you a happy day. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate to reach out to a friendly Red Hatter. Thank you. Bye.
Red Hat and Intel enjoy a strong partnership that spans more than 2 decades. At the heart of this collaboration is our common focus on hybrid and multi-cloud infrastructure as the foundational building blocks for your digital transformation. Intel is not just a silicon company. We are the #1 contributor to the Linux kernel, and we have over 20,000 software engineers working with partners like Red Hat to optimize software on our architecture. Together, Red Hat and Intel help customers to navigate digital transformation with solutions that provide more choice, flexibility, and innovation. Red Hat and Intel have a long track record of delivering joint market-ready solutions to many industries and enterprises. Red Hat and Intel are the beating heart of the open source ecosystem. Our joint solutions are built on open platforms with enterprise-grade open source software and x86 architecture from edge to cloud. Red Hat and Intel solutions are supported by a strong ecosystem and are tested and validated before being certified or deployed in the Red Hat market space. Our engineers continuously work to harden our platform and solutions with industry standards and enterprise-grade security. Open source and x86 offer you an open platform for innovation with choice and the agility to deploy quickly. We just launched the 4th Gen Xeon processors, delivering to customers a range of features for managing power and performance, making the optimal use of CPU resources to help achieve their sustainability goals. Unlike any other data center processors on the market, and already in the hands of customers today, the 4th Gen Xeon family greatly expands on Intel purpose-built workloads, first strategy and approach. Today, there are over 100 million Xeons installed in the market, from on-prem servers running IT services, including new as-a-service business models, to networking equipment, managing internet traffic, to wireless base stations, computing at the edge, to cloud services. Thank you for your time. We look forward to collaborating with you to enrich your digital transformation journey with Red Hat and Intel solutions.